stories you are about to see are real. The rewards up to $5 million are real. This is Crime Reports and Rewards with Griff Griffin and Dave Michaels, where you stay anonymous, the criminals don't. I'm Dave Michaels with this Crime Reports and Rewards special report. And now this breaking news. The biggest indicator of war is imminent. High-level source confirms secret U.S. nuclear warhead is being transferred. Here's Alex Jones.
Alex Jones here with a breaking emergency alert for Infowars.com. We are here in Texas and have military sources at a major Air Force base in West Texas that have reported to us the unprecedented event of secret nuclear weapons that were stored there being removed and transferred out of the base today to be shipped to South Carolina. Now, the reason this is unprecedented is the B-1 bombers that were located there took off last week. The B-1 bombers located in the Dakotas blasted off last week. They are only to be used in emergencies because they've been quasi-mothballed. They were designed in the 70s and 80s, the B-1B, to launch strikes inside Russia. They fly about 100 feet off the ground with ground-following radar. Now, Obama said in his speech last Saturday that the forces are in place for Syria, but Syria and Iran have said they're going to strike Israel, and then Israel is going to strike them, probably with nuclear weapons. Then Russia, that has alliances, will then respond, and then you know what happens. The rest is history. We are on the edge of the beginning of World War III. We've talked to our Russian sources high up in the Russian press. They are absolutely concerned at a level not seen since the Cuban Missile Crisis. Now, this can be averted, but 3 separate times in modern history, we've come very close to nuclear war. The Cuban Missile Crisis is one of the most well-known, but there's been other events. This is historic times happening. Now, Anthony Gucciardi, who works with Infowars.com and with his site StoryLeak.com, is here. He's just published the article to Infowars.com breaking this down. Anthony, you also called the Air Force Base today, and we're going to play that clip in a moment. But first, give us your take on this.
Exactly, and the key thing here is that this Air Force Base, Dyess Air Force Base, which is here in Texas, these nuclear warheads are not just gone. They're not just going somewhere. It says South Carolina, but we don't even know. That's just what the trucker told this high-level military officer here. And he's saying that not only do we not know where they were, but there was no signature. There was no on-record paper here. So the point is, this military commander came out and gave the authorization to take out these nuclear warheads and bring them wherever. And as we've talked about for months, maybe even years now, the whole thing isn't even about Syria. It's really a hot war with Russia. And the media has gone on record now saying that whether Obama knows it or not, and he does, it's a hot war with Russia. That's always been the thing. There's no reason to have nuclear warheads to go against Syria. We could wipe out Syria if we wanted to. But Putin has gone now and said that it's likely a staged attack, the chemical attacks in Syria, to start a war. We've had Ron Paul, Pat Buchanan. We've had others come out. Now even Rush Limbaugh saying it's likely some type of staged event. And what's coming down now is we know that Israel started all of this by attacking the Russell missile caches, and Russia went ahead and responded with 160,000 troops for immediate combat readiness with naval and aerial forces. And this is the United States taking a nuke as Russia has these combat readiness troops on the border ready for anything. And who knows what they're going to do with it. I think, and Alex can give you his take on this, strategically and militarily, this is meant for Russia, not Syria.
Anthony, 100% it's meant for Russia. They've got cruise missiles, they've got bombs, they've got nukes, anything they would need if they decided to go nuclear in that region on those 5 missile cruisers that have arrived, with aircraft carriers now showing up. These particular bombers, B-1s and B-2s that have also left their base in Missouri, are meant to fly in with stealth capabilities and bomb Moscow, bomb major sites inside Russia with heavy megaton bombs that can get down into deep bases. because a cruise missile can only carry a smaller warhead generally. They have a few larger ones. But without getting into all the strategy here, we hope that things can be de-escalated. But as Obama said, the forces are in place of his military. And so they definitely want this world crisis to basically intimidate the world into giving into their demands for more globalism, more world government, and to continue to expand the hegemonic rule of the United States, itself captured by the globalists. But this is very historical what's happening, because the B-1 bombers, the B-2 bombers, the fighter aircraft, they're all being put in Diego Garcia out there just south of the Persian Gulf in the middle of the ocean. They're all being moved into Cyprus. All of this is on record to go in and have a major war with Russia, not with Syria. So as even USA Today has reported, the U.S. is now in a hot war with Russia through the proxy of Syria. Only public backlash can stop this, and that's already happened to a certain extent with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Dempsey, saying we do not want war with Syria. It could lead to a Russian war, with many members of the Congress saying they don't want this. We need sanity to prevail here. We need people to go to Infowars.com and StoryLeak.com and mirrors it and PrisonPlanet.com and get this article with all the documentation out to everyone they know. But you better believe we're in danger when people like Rush Limbaugh are coming out saying this could be a frame-up, a false flag. Anthony, anything else?
That's it. I think the fact of the matter is that we're facing a hot World War III type scenario if we don't stop this. But Brzezinski, the top advisor for Obama, did come out and say that there's been a global political awakening that stopped war in Syria. I mean, 9% approval rating. The world is waking up to this. So I think we can put a wrench in this, in the wheel of the war machine, in the elite war machine. And I think we can stop this if we get this out. Or better yet, who knows what they're actually wanting to do with this nuclear weapon, this nuclear warhead. We could stop a potential false flag scenario inside the United States right now by exposing this.
I'm glad, very well said. I'm glad you raised that, because we had the case now 7 years ago, Minot, North Dakota, the missing cruise missiles that weren't signed for, and a bunch of people on the base got killed.
Seems like the exact same thing, because they denied it too. And we're going to play when we called the actual Air Force Base.
Sure,
they denied it. But they denied it back in 2007 as well when those nukes went missing. They said that they weren't missing, they weren't there, they didn't exist. And then they later admitted it. This seems the exact same thing. There was no signature.
That's right. They later said that it was just a mistake.
Yeah.
That, oh, we didn't sign properly. And then a bunch of people on the base committed suicide or died. So again, the shadow government wants to be able to disappear some nukes that they can then maybe detonate, blame on Russia, blame on American patriots. This could be a globalist coup to hold D.C. hostage.
I mean, this is huge.
It's going to South Carolina. Maybe the nukes are going to be deployed into D.C. I mean, there's no telling with these globalists. Very important. We're going to cover it more on the radio tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central, Infowars.com. We can beat this, folks, if good people stand up. Alex Jones signing off.
Public Affairs, Erin Villa speaking.
Hey, how's it going? Is this the PR for the base?
The PA?
What's that?
Public Affairs?
Yes. I had a few questions. I'm from the press. My name is Anthony Gucciardi.
Yes, sir.
Great. So I was just wondering, we've heard some reports that nuclear weapons were being moved today from the base that were previously denied to even exist at the base until now. And are you still there?
Hold on one moment.
Are you there?
Where were you from?
I'm from Infowars.com.
And what?
What's that? Infowars.com.
Okay.
Yeah, so we read a bunch of reports. It's from numerous sources that there were some nuclear warheads being moved out of your facility, out of your camp area, elsewhere. You know anything about that?
We'd have to get back to you.
You have to get back to me.
Now with 22 reasons why we shouldn't go to war with Syria. Here's Griff Griffin.
22 reasons why starting World War III in the Middle East is a really bad idea. submitted by Crime Stopper Michael Snyder. While most of the country is obsessing over Miley Cyrus, the Obama administration is preparing a military attack against Syria, which has the potential of starting World War III. In fact, it's being reported that cruise missile strikes could begin before you see this. The Obama administration is pledging that the strikes will be limited. But what happens when the Syrians fight back? What happens if they sink a U.S. naval vessel or two? Or they have agents start hitting targets inside the United States? Then we'd have a full-blown war on our hands. And what happens if the Syrians decide to retaliate by hitting Israel? If Syrian missiles start raining down on Tel Aviv, Israel will be extremely tempted to absolutely flatten Damascus. And the Bible says that World War III is started by the destruction of Damascus. And of course, Hezbollah and Iran are not likely to just sit idly by as their close ally Syria is battered into oblivion. We're looking at a scenario where the entire Middle East could be set aflame, and that might only be just the beginning. Russia and China are sternly warning the U.S. government not to get involved in Syria, and by starting a war with Syria, we will do an extraordinary amount of damage to our relationships with these two global superpowers. Could this be the beginning of a chain of events that could eventually lead to a massive global conflict with Russia, China, and most of our current allies on one side, and the United States alone on the other? The following are 22 reasons why starting World War III in the Middle East is a really bad idea. Number one, the American people are overwhelmingly against going to war with Syria. Americans strongly oppose U.S. intervention in Syria's civil war and believe Washington should stay out of this conflict, even if reports that Syria's government used deadly chemicals to attack civilians are confirmed, a Reuters Ipsos poll says. Number two, at this point, a war in Syria is even more unpopular with the American people than Congress. Number three, the Obama administration has not gotten approval to go to war with Syria from Congress, as the United States Constitution requires. Number four, the United States does not have the approval of the United Nations to attack Syria, and it's not going to get it. Number five, Syria has said that it will use all means available to defend itself. Who can blame them? If the United States attacks, would that include terror attacks in the United States itself? Number six, Syria's foreign minister made the following statement on Tuesday. We have two options, either to surrender or to defend ourselves with the means at our disposal. The second choice is the best. We will defend ourselves. Number seven, Russia has just sent their most advanced anti-ship missiles to Syria. What do you think is going to happen when images of sinking U.S. naval vessels come flashing across our television screens? Number 8. When the United States attacks Syria, there's a very good chance that Syria will attack Israel. Just check out what one Syrian official said recently. A member of the Syrian Ba'ath National Council said on Monday that Damascus views Israel as behind the aggression, and therefore it will come under fire should Syria be attacked by the United States. In an interview for the American radio station Sawa in Arabic, President Bashar Assad's fellow party member said, "We have strategic weapons and we can retaliate." Essentially, the strategic weapons are aimed at Israel. Al-Mufta stressed that the U.S. threats will not influence the Syrian regime and added that if the U.S. or Israel err through aggression and exploit the chemical issue, the region will go up in endless flames, affecting not only the area's security, but the entire world's. Number 10. Hezbollah will do whatever it can to fight for the survival of the Assad regime. That could include striking targets inside both the United States and Israel. Number 11. Iran's closest ally is Syria. Will Iran sit idly by as their closest ally is removed from the chessboard? Number 12. Starting a war with Syria will cause significant damage to our relationship with Russia. On Tuesday, Deputy Prime Minister Dmitry Rogozin said the West is acting like a monkey with a hand grenade. Number 13. Starting a war with Syria will cause significant damage to our relationship with China and our economy. What's going to happen when the Chinese decide to start dumping the massive amount of U.S. debt that it's holding? Interest rates will absolutely skyrocket, and we would rapidly be facing a nightmare scenario. Number 14. Dr. Jeremy Corsi and Walid Shubat have compiled some startling evidence that it was actually the Syrian rebels that the U.S. is supporting that were responsible for the chemical weapons attack that is being used as justification to go to war with Syria. Number 15. As Pat Buchanan recently noted, it makes no sense for the Assad regime to use chemical weapons on defenseless women and children. The only people who would benefit from such an attack would be the rebels. The basic question that needs to be asked about this horrific attack on civilians, which appears to be gas-related, is cui bono? To whose benefit would the use of nerve gas on Syrian women and children rebound? Certainly not Assad's, as we can see from the furor and threats against him that the use of gas has produced. The sole beneficiary of this apparent use of poison gas against civilians in rebel-held territory appears to be the rebels, who have long sought to have us come in and fight their war. 16. If the Saudis really want to topple the Assad regime, they should do it. They should not expect the United States to do their dirty work. 17. A former commander of the U.S. Central Command has said that a U.S. attack on Syria would result in a full-throated, very, very serious war. Number 18. A war in the Middle East will be bad for the financial markets. The Dow is very unstable amid concern about the war with Syria. Number 19. A war in the Middle East will cause the price of oil to go up. The price of oil is already going up. Number 20. There's no way in the world the U.S. government should be backing the Syrian rebels. As we all know, the rebels have pledged loyalty to Al-Qaeda, and they beheaded numerous Christians, and they massacred entire Christian villages. If the U.S. government helps these lunatics take power in Syria, it will be a complete disaster. Number 21. A lot of innocent civilians inside Syria will end up getting killed. Already, a lot of Syrians are expressing concern about what foreign intervention will mean for them and their families. I've always been a supporter of foreign intervention, but now that it seems like a reality, I've been worrying that my family could get hurt or killed, said one woman, Zaina, who opposes Assad. She went on to say, I'm afraid of a military strike now. The big fear is that they'll make the same mistakes they made in Libya and Iraq, said Zayed, a man in his 50s. They'll hit civilian targets and then they'll cry that it was by mistake, but we'll get killed in the thousands. Number 22. If the U.S. government insists on going to war with Syria without the approval of the American people, the U.S. Congress, or the United Nations, we're going to lose a lot of friends and a lot of credibility around the globe. It is truly a sad day when Russia looks like the good guys and we look like the bad guys. What good could possibly come out of getting involved in Syria? As we wrote the other day, the rebels that Obama is backing are rabidly anti-Christian, rabidly anti-Israel, and rabidly anti-Western. If they take control of Syria, that nation will be far more unstable and far more of a hotbed of terrorism than it is now. The downside of getting involved in Syria is absolutely enormous. Syria, Iran, and Hezbollah all have agents inside this country. And if they decide to start blowing stuff up, it'll wake up the American people to the horror of war really quick. By attacking Syria, the United States could cause a major regional war to erupt in the Middle East, which could eventually lead to World War III. I don't know about you, but I think that starting World War III in the Middle East is a really bad idea. Let us hope the cooler heads prevail before things spin totally out of control. So what does prophecy say about the destruction of Damascus that we're watching right now? Apparently, Obama does get authority to bomb Damascus. This sets off a chain of events that result in 2 billion people dying. Let's take a look. There are 2 major world wars yet to occur before the return of the Lord. These are prophesied in the book of Revelation as the 6th and 7th trumpets. We don't believe this movement has much, if anything, to do with the spreading of democracy around the world. This is a war to control the world. Some people in the United States want to control the world and use American forces to subdue it. But I think the truth is even more ominous. Since Muhammad's death, there have been 2 struggling factions trying to control Islam so as to set up a world caliphate. They are the Sunni and the Shia factions. Iran and Syria are Shia. Saudi Arabia and Egypt are Sunni. President Barack Hussein Obama is, in our humble opinion, a Sunni Muslim. Remember back, upon becoming president and speaking in Cairo, he bowed to the King of Saudi Arabia, the ruler of Mecca and Medina. So why is Obama pushing so hard to bomb Syria? Obama wants to depose Assad in order to defeat Shia and to set up a Sunni caliphate. He is the ultimate Trojan horse, having infiltrated the United States, having taken over its military and government, and now having decided to go to war against Assad. History will tell whether Assad in fact used chemical weapons or whether other powers, perhaps the U.S. itself, arranged that attack as a pretense to launch this war.
I'm Dave Michaels with this week's edition of Spot Crime, where we highlight crimes reported in the CSRA. We've had 36 assaults around the CSRA. They took place on the 1700 block of East Valley Park, the 2400 block of Belgrade Court, the 3600 block of Larkspur Drive, the 2900 block of Foxhall Court, the 2800 block of Wiles Road, the 3200 block of Alpine Road, the 100 block of 4th Street, the 2500 block of Smoke Tree Road, the 2400 block of Penny Hill Drive, the 1400 block of Stovall Street, 3000 block of Deans Ridge Road, the 2800 block of Peasant Drive, the 1300 block of Culkin Avenue, the 900 block of Walton Way, the 600 block of 11th Street, the 2400 block of Providence Place, the 1600 block of McCalkey Street, the 1600 block of Hunter Street, the 1100 block of Union Cemetery Road, the 400 block of Hell Street, the 1000 block of 10th Avenue, the 2400 block of Dublin Drive, the 2100 block of Kelly Street, the 200 block of Furglow Street, the 1600 block of Gordon Highway, the 3300 block of Tanglewood Drive, the 2900 block of Rays Creek Drive, the 1600 block of Curon Way, the 2600 block of Willis Foreman Road, the 4200 block of James Drive, the 1600 block of the Gordon Highway, the 900 block of 11th Avenue, the 1900 block of 3rd Avenue, the 1000 block of River Ridge Drive, 1900 block of Katrina Drive, and the 2600 block of Lumpkin Road. We've had 21 burglaries around the CSRA. They took place at the 1800 block of Eagle Road, the 1100 block of Laney Walker Boulevard, the 1900 block of Windsor Springs Road, the 3300 block of Emerson Drive, the 3500 block of Jonathan Circle, the 3800 block of Craigington Place, the 2700 block of Huntscliffe Drive, the 700 block of Bennock Mill Road, the 2600 block of Eric Drive, the 2500 block of Weldon Drive, the 1800 block of Wiles Road, the 200 block of Boy Scout Road, 1400 block of Reynolds Street, the 3400 block of Princess Avenue, the 2300 block of Barton Chapel Road, the 1300 block of Anderson Avenue, the 4100 block of Country Lane, the 2300 block of Milledgeville Road, the 2300 block of Travis Road, the 2600 block of Peach Orchard Road, and the 2500 block of St. Sebastian Court. We've had 5 robberies around the CSRA. They took place on the 900 block of Broad Street, 10th Street, the 1800 block of Laney Walker Boulevard, the 3400 block of Pine Hill Road, and the 3000 block of Washington Road. We've had 1 case of arson. It took place on the 1100 block of Gordon Street, and 1 drug arrest. It took place at the 1300 block of Walton Way. If you know anything about these crimes or any other crimes, please text your tips to 803-441-8744, where you'll always remain anonymous, and you tell us where to stack your cash rewards.
The Richmond County Sheriff's Office needs your help finding this black male nicotine fiend who stole several boxes of cigarettes from the Family Dollar at 2310 Milledgeville Road around 5 a.m. Sunday. The suspect was caught on video stealing the cigarettes from the Family Dollar after he used a pry bar to break in. He stole several boxes of Newport cigarettes valued at about $50 a carton and a $25 Family Dollar shopping basket. The suspect is described as a black male with a mustache. He was wearing a black hat with a white washcloth under it, black shirt, and light pants. Know who this nicotine fiend is? Call Sergeant Michael McDaniel at 706-821-1080 or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS or email your tip to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers, where you can remain anonymous and get paid. Hey look, the Richmond County Sheriff's Office is looking for Little Nicky. No, actually, they're looking for this dark male who may be of Middle Eastern or Spanish descent who stole collection money from the Holy Trinity Greek Orthodox Church in Augusta. The Holy Trinity Greek Orthodox Church in Augusta reports a dark male who may be of Middle Eastern or Spanish descent is seen on surveillance images entering the church, which is located at 953 Telfair Street around 12:30 p.m. on Sunday, August 25th, and removing the collection money. If you think you know where this dark male with a beer gut may be found, please call investigator Terry Gore or any other investigator at 706-821-1080 or call 1-800-222-TIPS or email your tip to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you can remain anonymous and you tell Crime Stoppers how and where you want to be paid.
You've been watching Crime Reports and Rewards with Griff Griffin and Dave Michaels, where you stay anonymous. The criminals don't. If you have any information on these or any other crimes, call our national tip line at 1-800-222-TIPS. Well, you'll stay anonymous and could get a cash reward. You can see this or any other episode of Crime Reports and Rewards on the web anytime at crimereportsandrewards.com. Crime Reports and Rewards is a production of Michaels Media.